Awesome. Welcome back to the Kafara Way, Season 2, Episode 1. A very special guest, good friend of mine, coworker, colleague, Mr. Tommy Wood. Man, appreciate you coming back on again.
Yeah, buddy. Take 2. I wouldn't even call it Episode 2. Take 2. How's that?
Yeah, take two. I met Tommy about 4 months ago in Arizona at one of our big meetings, and we were climbing a mountain at Camelback, and he had this insane story, and we all have different roads that we've been on, but actually led us into the same spot of where we are today. And to give him that understanding where two people can have two different lives, but come together in a different way was super compelling. And I had to have you on the show, man. I feel like what you have to share and what you've been through can help so many people.
Yeah, buddy. It's, yeah.
So I'm excited. The podcast is called The Kafara Way, but the cool thing is everybody has their own way. Everybody has their own path, how they get there, how they've overcome things. And so I'm really excited to hear the Wood way, right? And how you are able to overcome trials, overcome trauma, overcome so many different things. And let's just jump right into it, man. You're in the medical industry. Let's just start off with who you are real quick, where you're at now, and then let's just go back into childhood.
Yeah, man. So who I am now, and most important, I'm a father.
Love that.
I'm a dad. I'm a newer dad. My son's 2. I'm also a newer husband, right? We've been married for 3 years. So that's what I consider as me, right? And then there's a professional world that supports my ability to take care of my family. How's that? So
I love that. What do you do professionally?
I am in the med device space, right? I oversee a region for the orthopedic world, right?
Awesome.
So I have a fairly large team. And
there's trauma.
Say it again.
Knee, hip replacements,
You broke up.
All that.
Yep. So I oversee all orthopedics, so everything from trauma to total joints.
Awesome. And so that kind of gives us, that's crazy because you could say that you've been actually in this your whole life, correct?
Yeah. So for the most part, right out of college, I went into the med device startup world. Right?
But even
I was in a space.
Your dad was in this space. That's what I'm trying to say. Like,
yeah. So I was literally bred in it, right? So there was a company called U.S. Surgical, which at that time was the creme de la creme, and that's what I was raised in, right? And then he left that world, went into startups, and that's genuinely how I got my break into this industry, in all fairness to that guy.
It's awesome. Yeah, but there's been all the other different breaks as well from that guy as well.
Yeah, right. So I got to give credit where credit is due. So
absolutely. Both on both sides. The yin and the yang, right? There's a balance between what's good and what's bad. And so what'd you say? How was your childhood? What was it like? What did you experience? Was it joy? Was it bliss? Was it hard? I feel like because there was 2 sides of your childhood as we were talking that kind of struck out to me, that you had this great life on the outside, but also secretly darkness on the inside, right?
Sure. Yeah. So I would say, looking back at it now, I know what the reality is, but before this all came out and, the basis of why we are here, but I would say I was a fortunate kid, right? I grew up with money. My father was a successful guy in the space, especially back in that day. And in the world that we lived in, it was, I grew up with boats and cars and all the stuff that most of us would look at as being privileged. When you peel back the layers, and now especially acknowledging what life was, it was brutal to say the least. So yes, I was brought up in a financially privileged lifestyle, I guess, but at the same time, right, the reason why we're here is my father was trafficking me as a kid, right? So I laugh only because it was so extreme polar opposites, right? And even at that time, I was raised in a family where secrecy was a thing, and I didn't know why it was such a thing, but we didn't talk about anything, share our feelings, any of those kind of things outside of like this external what the world saw. So what everybody else saw was the big house and the cars and my dad, who was a president, and all this kind of stuff. And what was really happening behind the scenes was pretty evil.
So going back, sorry, what you just hit, it's a really big word, trafficked. Can we dive into that real quick?
Yeah. Yeah. So at that time, even for me, I never acknowledged those things out loud at that time. I didn't up until it's probably been 3 or 4 years where I've said it out loud. And at that time, if it did come to light, I don't think so. We live in a world today where trafficking is a thing, right? It's acknowledged. People see it. People talk about it. There's documentaries. It's very prevalent with kids and women and all that kind of stuff. And at my time, we're going back 30 plus years. I just don't think it was quite viewed or looked at, or people looked out for it. So it just wasn't, right? There's no way, because the amount of stuff that was happening, I just think it was so much of it was overlooked. And I don't know how to justify that in my head, because it wasn't any less horrible then. Right?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's hard. I mean, it's extreme. You wouldn't understand that. You wouldn't see that if you're actually coming. I think this is the first time you're actually publicly talking about it. I mean,
for sure. Yeah. Outside of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And God. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But tell us what happened. Give us scenarios. Is he just calling his friends? Is it women? Is it men? I can't get my head around it.
Yeah. So I haven't gone this far either. I mean, it was both. I mean, the majority of it was men, which is, both humiliating and mortifying. Right. And it's crazy again. So no, I wasn't like trafficked to fucking Europe. Right. But there was a network of people. And so whether it was people within his world of his space of these, higher up people, and this was their sick and demented world, or oddly enough, it was like, because of who the neighbors were, there was like firefighters, and there was even a priest involved, right? So like, it was crazy. Yeah. So to make it even more complex, my father, I don't know what it was called. He was in ministry. So he was never becoming a priest, right? But every Sunday we went to church, and you gotta go?
No, Mike.
You good?
They're running. Yeah, you're good.
Cool. He was in ministry, so every Sunday we went. Hang on one sec. Do you mind if I say goodnight real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm so sorry, dude. 2 seconds.
Oh, you're good. Go say goodnight. This is a real podcast.
Let me say goodnight. Love you, bro. Real quick. Say hi, my buddy. Charlie, you can come say hi too. You can. That's the point.
What's up, bud?
This is Wild. Joe, come say hi to Johnny. This is Wild. Do you like his mom?
You going to bed?
He's going to. You're in my ears. He can't hear you. This is Johnny.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
I'll say goodnight.
Good night.
Love you.
Bye.
Can you close that for me? Thank you. Sorry, dude. I would.
Don't be. We already planned it, dude.
Where were we? So yeah, so it was, and then it goes into like the neighbors, which again, and I say the neighbors, but like the town and the, sorry.
Say goodnight.
Good night.
Good night, homie.
Peace.
Good night. Sleep well. Peace, homeboy.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. What's happening? Good night.
Hey, good night.
I love it. Good night.
So fun, man.
That's fun.
But yeah.
So again, and then it went into like the neighborhood, right? So I said the neighborhood, but because everybody wants to feel important, right? Like there was firefighters and the priests, and it's just dark. And so my father was in, again, ministry. I don't know what it was called, but I was brought up Catholic, so we'd go to the Catholic church on Sundays, and he would wear the robe, and he would help in the service, which just makes it that much more twisted.
That's much more twisted. That's like
twisted. And a lot of it happened there. I mean, I can go, like, I could, it's funny because as I said a lot, I can remember the church, I can remember the altar, I can remember the back room. I mean, it's nuts. And I haven't been to a Catholic church.
I wouldn't step foot in.
No, I wouldn't, because it's just so twisted now when I think about it. And then even more so, like how much the Catholic church covered that.
Well, yeah. I mean, you saw that story in Boston, right? Like all those Boston priests and all that. I mean, that's
just bubble, right? Like it's all over the place. But it's only twisted because I was a part of that world, right?
But it's not. What blows my mind though is it's as a father, as you see as we are, we love our children. It is one of our greatest duties to protect and to help our children. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry that happened. I mean, that's not right. It wasn't right. It's not okay. And I'm glad you are who you are today and where you're at and how you can be able to have your son watch you as a father and help him grow and protect him. That's what I do for my kids, man. I've got 3 boys that I want to make sure that I protect. And so from me, from another father, I'm sorry that happened to you, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it, and yes, that's why we are who we are. But and for this podcast, right, and for anybody that hears it, I don't live in that mentality outside of the reason why I feel like this is important is because, and I know you're going to ask me about this too, but like what it brought me to.
Yeah.
If I could, I don't want to say save anybody, but if people could just realize that like there's an outlet, whether there's an outlet and you speak about it, because I don't know if that works for everybody. It's been a struggle for me. Or if it doesn't make you, right? Like it did break me for right. But I mean, but it did, right? It
did
like,
for a long time but now you're
actually for a long time.
People know that it's okay to not be okay, but it's also, there's going to be light at the end of the tunnel by having these conversations and saying, look, I made it through and these are the things that I did to help make me through, but I feel your pain. Me too, right? It's happened to me and look where I'm at. And I think that's why the biggest thing that I wanted you to share your story is look how much you've come across. You're married, happy, have a child, successful, and none of, all that could have broke you. Just with me, my circumstances were different. I was abused too as a child, and I had 3 hip replacements, and I've had so many different things. And I should be this depressed 300-pound man living in my parents' basement and saying, woe is me. But we just kept on fighting to see another day, And I think that just gives us that drive to keep moving forward and knowing one day you'll see the light.
Right. Agreed.
So then, dude, it just keeps baffling me. And then he was physically abusive and manipulative and verbally abusive to you, your siblings, or was it mainly you?
Yeah. So it's funny because I don't know if that's like a defense mechanism. Well, first of all, my father was evil to everybody, right? And nobody got away unscathed. That includes my mom, right? And lots of people can look at my mom and be like, think she was a part of it. But my dad was fucking evil, right? And he was a master fucking manipulator. He could break you down. I don't care how big of a man you were. He was that good, right? And so my sisters, we have a broken family, right? None of us talk. And all of it stems around my dad. And nobody can get past like their version of it, which I get, right?
Yeah.
I think my sisters know what happened to me to an extent. And they say there's a part of them that's like, well, you spared us, right? But they got and they're old. I'm the youngest of 3. They got their own. I mean, my father abandoned them when they were, young girls, teenagers. So they have their own version of their trauma from that man.
For sure.
Right. And there's so much depth of hate for him. So, and I'm the only other male. So it's very easy for them to turn to me and think and compare me and see him and me. You know what I mean? So it's just ugly. And I have a sister, Jordan, who at 39 years old, found drugs and went off the deep end and hasn't been seen since. She's in a program now, but she completely abandoned all 3 of her kids. And there's no question to me it stems from him. I don't know or remember.
Root cause. I mean, look at the damage that has been done. And if she couldn't find an outlet and she found, I don't feel like people are addicted to drugs. I feel like they're addicted to relief. And they're finding
100%, right.
I don't believe it's the substance of addiction. I think they're searching for some kind of relief for what the trauma was to them, whether it be alcohol, whether it be drugs, cocaine, whether it be anything kind of thing that's going to help them relief. And I don't think a lot of society understands when you go through a traumatic experience, all you're looking for is some kind of relief to exhale, to breathe. And I think she found some relief through that, but went too far, right? That's hard.
Well, you're talking about a human being that my sister didn't even so much as drink alcohol until 38 years old. So she went from nothingness to heroin, right? And also just to add to the complexity of it, she never left the house. She never moved out. And he every time, and truly, like I watched it, and there was parts of me at the time, like, just move out of the fucking house, like grow up, stop living off their dime. But that man kept her under his thumb till he died and she left.
So then what was the next? So you have this kind of, you're trafficked and you're abused in the home and outside it, and then you're going to school. Are you being bullied? Are you fighting? What is your outlet? help us understand that, because where do people go through, or how do they talk to their children that happened to them?
So, I mean, I was unfortunate. Like I said, this is what like the yin and the yang is, right? So, in school, call it like high school, if you want to start there, I was part of the cool crew, right? As cheesy as that sounds, I came from a family with money, and I had resources and outlets, and I played sports. And I mean, I don't think I really even got into trouble. Well, that's not true. That's funny because I don't even look at it then. I started using drugs at that time, not drugs in the sense of like hard things like heroin and stuff, but I'd call it normal kid experimenting,
Are you
so to
drugged,
speak.
right?
And yeah, I mean, I don't ever look at it like, because even now, man, I don't even drink, right? And then I could have taken it or leave it. It wasn't my outlet. I was an athlete, right? So I played football and lacrosse, broke my neck in high school. That changed things for me in terms of where I was going to go to college and stuff like that. But I didn't really have, like, I didn't live in that state because at the time, like, you got to keep in mind, right? Like, he was still in my life. I was still home, right? And so I wasn't, those experiences weren't allowed to be out. Like, he was a scary human being. So I think he just did a really good job at keeping it down at the bottom of a barrel for me for a very long time, right?
So then what did my head? When did it stop, the abuse? When did the trafficking stop? At what age?
When I became
push
big.
back? When did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't say an age, but I mean, probably like 12, 13 kind of thing, when I became more of a man in the sense of like, I was outwardly a human being. So how much secret can you keep? We moved to another town, and I became very like involved in sports, involved with other families. And at the time when he was doing it, I was actually homeschooled. So it's funny because I don't think about these things until I say it out loud, but like,
Please.
we were kept in this bubble, right? And then when we moved to the next town, I started going to public school. I started playing sports. I was involved with other kids and a lot of families, and I was quote unquote popular. So like there was a lot of exposure risk for him. So that's probably when it stopped. It's hard for me to pinpoint it, but when I say it out loud, I'm like, oh, that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
You
moved out of the bubble.
Right.
Yeah. Dang, dude. That's crazy. And so, I mean, so was sports did you just kind of lock it out? Did you kind of just?
Yeah. I knew. It's funny because in my head, there's one particular story, which I'm not going to go into now, but there's this one scenario that I always would think about. I'm like, that was fucking weird. That was weird. That was weird. And it wasn't, I think it was probably 4 years ago when there's a woman, she just recently passed away. She was a very dear friend of mine, but also like for lack of a better words, my therapist. She wasn't a formal therapist to me, but she was. And I remember saying out loud to her, she and I were walking because I could never sit in an office and I would never go to formal therapy. So she'd meet me in town, we'd get coffee and we'd go for laps around the green, right? And just talk. And I'm like, so there's this scenario. I remember exactly how I said it. I'm like, there was this time, well, it seemed inappropriate. It sounds weird. And I don't want to say it out loud, but like, this is how I was touched, whatever I said. And she like looked at me. She goes, it was coming eventually. Like I could just tell who you are and the things that you cover up or the things that you are. Like there had to have been abuse. And she's like, that was abuse. And the second I said that out loud, the flood of images and reality since that day have only become more and more real. And if you look into that stuff, they say that happens. Because I wrestled with, I'm like, did this happen? Or am I creating these scenarios in my head?
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
I wrestled with that too. And I remember saying to her, I'm like, am I just creating this nightmare? Because it was pretty bad. I'm like, how did I not say this out loud years ago? And she's like, well, that's what abusers do, right? Like they create this space, and whether they know it or not, like that is just an internal physical reaction that happens.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I say, like, for some people, and for me, I struggle with, like, I can't take it back. But if I could take it back, I probably would.
Yeah.
100%. I didn't even realize, like, when I was going through the life that I was living, and, I talked about it, right? I lived an extreme lifestyle. So I didn't think there was anything to it at the time.
Yeah.
Until I look back, I'm like, oh, that was just one big cloak of security.
Completely. Yeah. That's crazy. But at the same time, your body is running off of fight or flight without even knowing. And so I feel like now you at least, I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucks. And I know you said you would take it back and would want the floodgates open, but now maybe as you talk about these things more and talk about it into the open and get different help, now you can understand maybe that's why my nervous system is always shot. Maybe that's why I'm always in fight or flight, because you buried it for so long, but your body's still reacting to those kind of things, right?
For sure.
There's a book out there that says the body keeps the score. And so when our emotions are bent up in some place, gut issues or everything along the lines. And so now that you're talking about it, it can move this emotion. I feel eventually, maybe, hopefully, cross my fingers, that it could be better for you or will be better for you. It's just going to take time and having these conversations. And I feel part of our journey is also telling our journey. Part of our healing is also telling how we can be able to help people go along those ways and along that path. And so that's why I wanted you on the show. I mean, your story is just so mind-boggling. It doesn't make sense because there's two sides of this. It's Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, right? Outside, amazing, inside devil. And it doesn't compute. And then you stem from these anger issues. Like you said, you had anger issues, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it anger issues. I would, because I wouldn't call it anger issues. I was an extremist, right? And so, I mean, we talked about it, and we'll go there. But I mean, there was the two extremes of my lifestyle, right? Where, I mean, again, I'm a big motorcycle guy. I'm a big fighter, meaning like a competitive fighter, right? I also fought when I was a kid. I don't know how much of that is extreme as much as like a male bravado type of thing. But even in my professional career, there's one point where I was riding with motorcycle clubs thinking like, this is the life I should live, right? And truly at the time, I just thought it makes sense because I'm like, it's like the wild, wild west that I should have been a cowboy kind of thing.
For sure.
And then again, now when I look back at those actions, or even the things that I do now, because for example, like I scuba dive by myself. Why do I scuba dive by myself? Because if shit goes south, I could die. And I don't look at that, that's not a suicidal thing, that's not a tough thing, but I'm like, I am so okay with heaven, right? I ride motorcycles and I ride them aggressively. Am I suicidal now? No. But if I died on my motorcycle, people will be like, oh, that's how I wanted to go, right? So like,
Sure.
I live, and again, I'm not some badass or anything like that, but I do things that in my world, for one, it's a release, right? You want to talk about like
that's what I'm asking.
People do drugs. I ride motorcycles and I scuba dive in places I shouldn't by myself, and I ride dirt bikes or I go on crazy adventures on, whatever. So like I do things that are very risky because I'm very much okay with like, well, if this goes south, I'm so okay with going to heaven. The flip side of it is if I don't die, I got this relief, right? This adrenaline dump. But there's this like level of peace in my head, but it's also how I balance myself out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I used to be that way until I found some hot yoga, and then I quieted my mind. And now I find, because dude, I always wanted to go squirrel diving in the Swiss Alps. I bungee jumped over all the islands in Hawaii. I've done so many extreme stuff. I always wanted to drive fast cars. I wrecked my friend's BMW M5 into a cement barrier going 135 miles per hour, did a rodeo flipped the car 3 times in the air. We walked out. I'm like, that was dope. I'm dope. Everyone's like, you're an idiot. That's
idiot.
Not, I was always seeking the adrenaline relief to it. And I think I was at the same point with you. It's like, listen, I don't got that much to live for. I'm good either way. I've made peace with it. My kids are good, I guess, as good as you think they are at that moment, right? But I feel like I've calmed down and I found my zen or my inner chi, whatever.
Yeah, you have that for sure. You definitely have that for sure. Even your comments about like you quiet your brain, I don't think that's ever coming in my life.
Yeah.
But truly, like at the end outcome of this, right? If I could give someone that pathway to be like, oh man, I could be more like you, meaning Johnny versus me, but it's okay to put out there in the world of like the things that you struggle with and then find your side of it. I don't think that that's in the cards for me, right? I've come to terms with that.
I was the same way with you, dude. I went down to Costa Rica and I did ayahuasca. And if I don't think I would have done some plant medicine, I don't think I would have been able to be in this space. I would have always been in fight or flight. My nervous system was shot. I'd be waking up at 2:00 in the morning, feel like someone's dragging me out of bed. I'm waking up in a panic attack, sweating through my bed. And then I'm just going to pop some caffeine, drop an Adderall and go and don't live on the emotions. And I think what the plant medicine did, it just rewired neural pathways in the brain instead of just figuring out go left. It helped me go right. And I'm like, man, like, who do I want to be? Do I want to be what society told me, religion told me, my family told me? Am I the hurt boy, the 3 hip replacement, the abused child? Or am I just going to be the man who I am today and not let anybody tell me who I can and cannot be? So you never know.
Yeah.
As this is new for you, like I am hoping, and I'm hoping you still have hope for that. Quiet the mind, open the heart. And like, if we leave from a heart-centered space, that's what's really helped me. We're all love. I love everything and everyone. If I can just say that, and I can have that deep love and understanding for somebody and just wish them well and not have any ill will, that's where that's what's helped me. And so I hope that for you, bro, because I was that same place. Now I look like Jesus Thor, right?
I mean, so what's funny is and it's funny, I was talking to a colleague of ours, it's a mutual good friend of ours. And I was saying to him, I'm like, I know how I come off. And truly, if you don't know me, right, I'm that tattooed meathead guy, and even in our professional world, right, I'm the only guy with tattooed hands, right? And I'm the guy with sleeves. You're right. But my point is, like, and I also have this, I mean, you know it, right? My physical appearance comes off as one way, but if people really knew how so genuinely I love humans, and let me just be really clear, people that deserve to be loved, right? Mm-hmm. And when I say deserve to be loved, I mean good humans, right? Everybody deserves to be loved. I mean good humans. And so who am I? Even with all this stuff and all these things that I have in my background, that's never, and in fact, maybe that's a driving force of why I care so much. I care to a fault. I care to where, I mean, I put my own career at risk because I so genuinely want to take care of people even when they're not the best, right? I think, again, what my struggle really comes down to is that own inner peace for myself. You know what I mean? And so when I say I don't have much faith in that's in the cards for me, it's that particular part of it. Yeah. It's never like the fight or flight. I just don't know, man. There's a part of me, it's funny because I've talked about it in therapy. I've even tried antidepressants, right? Which I'm not a fan of meds. I'm not a fan of meds.
Not meds at all.
But when I tried it, there was this like leveling. I was leveled, meaning like if you walked in, I was completely emotionless.
Yeah, that's but it levels you to the point where you're not human. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't even say not human. I would say
emotionless.
Yeah, I was emotionless. Where like there's really tough shit going on at the time when I took it, and I just both life and professionally, right? But I remember just being like, huh. I'm okay. And I got to be honest, my fight or flight is also a reason why I will not fucking lose. You know what I mean? I might not win in the sense of like what people expect to be the win all the time, but like, I'm not going to fucking lose. Right. Yeah. So I remember saying it, her name was Linda. So again, I'll just call her Linda. I said it to Linda and I'm like, I don't know. I'd almost rather feel the pain and the fear because guess what? Like, I'm going to find a way out of it. When I'm leveled, I don't have that same sense of urgency. So like call it good, bad, or indifferent. There's been plenty of pros of what this has caused.
And has shaped who you are, right? Dude, anybody in the industry knows you're a winner. Everybody, I mean, people on the outside, they can have anybody's perspective. They can look at me, they can look at you, and they can be all these different things. But what everybody knows about you is Tommy Wood does not lose. And you have that drive. You have that innate knowing that your engine is going to cross that line, whether it be first, last, or in the middle, you're going to
cross the line.
Right. And I think that's the cool thing is where it brought you. I honestly, as we were talking, I'm not your therapist either, but you used your childhood and your experiences as fuel today
1,000%
to make you a great man that you are today. Where a lot of people don't know how to use their experiences as fuel to be able to help them get out of it. And then that's where deep depression or suicidal thought or get in. And we can get into that story because I know you had that deep one of those moments. But I feel like there's something in our brain that we want to win so badly that whatever we're going to use, we're going to alchemize it into a winning or succeeding. Maybe it might be the right way, might not be, maybe bad choices, but we're still going to win. When we're still going to be on top in some way. It might be not the way that you think we're winning, but we're going to get ours.
And I'll just say this too, for and I, maybe this is my narrative for myself, but my refusal to lose is, and nor has it ever been, because, my son is 2 and my wife and I have been married for 3 years, but I've had for an extended period of time, right? I'm responsible for my mom and my nephews. And, we talked about that a bit, but I financially took over when my father lost every fucking nickel that he had, over, at this point, it's been over almost 20 years. Right. And so at the end, the end of the story for me is not Tommy Wood wants to end with a big house and boats. And it truly doesn't even cross my mind at this point. My refusal to lose is because I never want my son to know a life of what I've had to live, meaning he's never going to know what it means to fucking take care of me.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't want my nephews to ever have to fear a roof over their head. Right. And so when I push and drive the way that I do, it's just got one fucking purpose, and it's the people around me. It'd be no different than if you called me tomorrow and like, hey man, I'm in a tough spot. I would find a way.
Yeah. 100%. You know that. Yeah, I just know that. And I think that's the beauty of it. You have your why. And I don't think a lot of people have a why when they're going through this, because they're almost saying, why did this happen to me? And I know it's fucked up saying, okay, this happened for me. Because do you think you'd be the same Tommy and be able to take care of all these people if you didn't have that innate drive to push, to win, and to prove people wrong? You had a chip on your shoulder, I would say, right?
No. Yeah.
And so,
it's funny. I do think about it. I do think about if those things didn't happen, what life would have looked like. But guess what? It was worth the cards.
Yeah, we don't get to go rewrite history, but guess what? We get to learn from history. One of my favorite quotes, me and my son watch Kung Fu Panda a lot, and Master Oogway says, the past is history, the future is a mystery, the present is a gift. And when we can come more center and we can come more into the present, it's a gift for us, because when we think about the future, we get anxious. Or when we think about the past, we get depressed or things that we haven't. But if we are at the very center of where we are now, I am here now, be here now. It's a gift, because we don't have any more thoughts going forward or backwards, right? Because you can't change anything.
100%. Yes. And I that's like a forced behavior for me. And you and I talked about this even the first day you and I hung out, right? Just kind of hiking. But if I can't put myself in that situation, and I'm not great at it, right? But I get home from work or whatever the scenario is, and if I can't put myself in that situation for my son, what energy and what lifestyle am I bringing to him?
100%.
Right. So I certainly live in the chaos and the stress, but I am very proactive in the thought of if I'm around my son, I'm not going to give him that. I'm not bringing that energy to his space.
Yeah. And so that's when you come in and bring in that, and then it's making sure that you're there and present. Because he doesn't know anything. His world is so tiny, right? It is so small. And if you bring in anything but love, joy, happiness, then what are we doing? If we're not bringing those kind of things in, then why do we bring kids into this world, right? And I think 100%. That's the thing is that you get to embody that and almost break our ancestral or our parents' patterns and past things where you're not passing this shit on to your kid.
Absolutely. You keep freezing. Do you see that for yourself?
There we go. I was freezing crazy. That was nuts. Am I good now?
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. Keep talking.
We just got to make.
Yeah. It's a little bit. Every now and then you'll talk and you won't move, and then your face will catch up.
That's all right. The video, we won't have to upload the video, or we can, and we'll figure it out. The audio will be
cool,
as long as we're still speaking at the same moment.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I mean, dude, I don't even know where you went on to college. You had so many different experiences, and then you rode motorcycles. You were doing drugs, and then at some point or moment, there was a switch flip. I don't want to do drugs anymore. I want to do better. But at the same time, you also were saying that you didn't want to live anymore at the same time too, though. Help me understand this.
Yeah. So So I'll say this just because it's a differentiator. So I never used drugs as escape, and I
No,
think
and I'm not. You're
the light
partying,
that
having fun. Yeah.
yeah, I just, all I'm saying is like so the pivotal piece in that, mostly for alcohol, right, than it was
Yeah.
drugs.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
there was certainly a point in my life, it was unrelated to this, right? But and we talk about this with
This
our
is very a
mutual friends.
prominent point in your life. It has
Yeah,
nothing
yeah.
related to it, but
Yeah, and so there was just a point, and unrelated to my past, right, where I was like, okay, well, whether it was drugs, whether it was as mundane as it was, or alcohol, I'm like, that's over, because I was at some point, and I did choose to be better, right, and I mean professionally, right, and even from a health perspective, meaning like I wanted to be more fit and whatever. So there was a point, I think I was 20, I don't think I was 21, and I was just like, I'm done. I stopped drinking. I mean, again, I wasn't doing drugs heavily, but whatever I was doing was over. And I just stopped drinking. And I didn't not drink because I was an alcoholic. I was just tired of waking up with a hangover. And professionally, I was like, well, if I want to be at the top of my game, and I'm not the smartest guy in the room, like, I have to up my game somewhere. And I'm not some academic, and I'm not some brain. And so my choice to be like, okay, I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. And by the time 6 a.m. rolled around, I've been more productive than any of you. And then by the time noon comes, I've done, because now we're in sales, right? So by the time noon came, I was rewriting the book in the sense of my world, and my claim to fame is by noon, up until I built my business, I've seen more people, touched more doctors, met with more hospitals, and before anybody would even leave their house, right? And so, and truly, that was the switch. I'm like, well, I can't be out till 2 o'clock in the morning and be at the hospital by the time staff gets there at 6:30 and have a conversation that's productive if I'm even slightly dragging.
yeah.
Right. So again, I say that because that was a pivotal point, just a life decision to be better. Right. And again, I have to make up for the things that I'm not good at. Right. Yeah. I'm not the guy that can test really well. And I'm not the guy that can recite papers really well. But guess what? I will out hustle you, and I'm smart enough. Right. So if I can out hustle you and I'm smart enough and I beat you to the punch, that is what defined why my career did better. Right. And no, nothing to write home about, but I did better. And then as far as all those things were happening, right? Both my medical career, my startup world, and I was still riding bikes with clubs, and I was still getting the crazy situations and doing really fun things. And at the time, I just thought it was like this really cool, yin and yang, right?
Yeah.
But then the story that you're referring to, which is also what I want others to hear. So there was a point, again, no alcohol, no drugs, and it hadn't been for years. My wife was just my girlfriend at the time, but we had a healthy situation, and we trained every day. We were both in the gym by 5 a.m. every day. We trained together, and it was good. And at that point, my mom was 5 hours away, but my every morning routine, call my mom, or I'd work out, not my wife, but my girlfriend at the time. We'd work out, we'd do our thing. I'd kiss her goodbye. She'd go do her work, and I'd go hit the road and travel, whatever it was at that time. And I'd get in my car, and every morning I'd call my mom. I'd check in. I see how she's doing. I'd check in on my nephews, and that was it. And then I don't know how long ago it was at this point, but I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. It's maybe the longest, 7 years ago. I don't think it was that long, but went to the gym. I'm a gun owner, and I carry. So I had my gun on me, and I was just tired. And I don't mean like I wasn't depressed. I wasn't scared. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't, woe is me. I was just like, all right, I'm ready for heaven. That was it. That was truly it. That was it. Which, it's funny because there was nothing at that time. I don't know. I didn't voice anything that had happened to me yet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, I was struggling with this. Like,
wait, your girlfriend didn't know anything? Nobody?
No, nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Wow.
Nobody knew. But, and so like, I knew it played a part, but at that time it wasn't like, oh my God, this has happened. I was just like, all right, I'm out.
Like your soul.
I mean, keep in mind, I mean, at that point, I'd been supporting my family, and I was scared, and I was trying to figure out how to make money when I didn't have money, how to be creative, how to keep a roof over their head, feed them. Like, all that was real.
Yeah.
But I always, because by the grace of God, I always managed to make it happen. So like, I was just done. And again, when people are suicidal or think about taking their life, there's this typical point where they're like, man, my life was so bad. I don't know, man. I was pretty good. I was young, making money, had a hot girlfriend, living a fun lifestyle. Like, I wasn't bad. And I just didn't those other things didn't play such a loud voice in my head that I was like, this has to be it. But anyway, it's 4:30 in the morning. I have my pistol on the seat. It's dark out. I'm in the city and my gym is in front of me. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm done. I'm out. And I said it out loud. I'm like, if you're real, God. And again, I'm not a Catholic person. Like, I'll just make that really clear. I do believe in God, but it's not the four walls of God. It's not the four walls of God that others believe in. I do believe in Jesus Christ in my own version, in my own way, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's my world. So at the time, I had zero relationship with God. And I said out loud, and I'm sitting in my truck, and I'm like, man, if you're real, now's the time. And if not, no big deal. But if you're not real, I'm going to get back in the car. I'm going to work out. I'll get my workout in. I'll call my mom. I'll check in, and then I'm out. I'm going to shoot myself. But it was it. It was calm. And if you're real, make it known. If not, no sweat. No big deal. I said that out loud. Got out of my truck, locked it. I left my gun on the passenger seat, dead center, loaded, ready to go. And I'm walking into the gym, and it's dark out. It's in the city, right? The gym I worked out at the time was like a inner city gym. But so there's a kid walking from the left-hand side, and I'm walking up. And it happens to be a kid I hadn't seen in a few years. And a kid I used to party with. We CrossFit. We competed together. He was just another meathead at the time. And in a similar industry as me. And so I had no emotional response to that. Like, hey, man, good to see you. How's work? You know, like it's 5 o'clock in the morning or 4:30. I really care. And it's like, oh, man, it's good. And I'm like, sweet. And I'm just walking in. And he's like, hey, man, you know, oddly enough, I'm not in med device anymore. I actually work for a church. And I'm like, well, that's not enough. It wasn't even like crossing my mind. Like, that's not it. You know, like, good try. And so we walk into the gym. I check in. I go to the locker room. He comes in. And again, this kid and I, back in the day, we were, you know, tight and still wasn't it. And so I'm changing, getting ready to go. And as I'm about to walk out of the locker room, he's like, hey, man, I know it sounds weird. I know coming from me is weird. He's like, but I work for a church. If there's any interest, let's grab coffee after this and I'll just tell you about God. And I'm like, God damn it. No pun intended. And honestly, man, I was like, fuck, dude, I had this, like, I was good. And of all the people, this wasn't the guy that I thought was going to bring me to fucking figure out who God was. And but I told God, I'm like, if you show a sign, I won't blow my brains out, you know? And again, zero emotional response, but I'm like, sure, we can get coffee. Well done, you know? Well played. Well played. I didn't even say thank you. I was like, well played. I was more pissed and I was like, I had a mission and I was content.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, truly, that's what stopped me. So like, again, I didn't consider myself suicidal then. And I don't consider myself, I'm not. For everybody that's going to hear this, I am not suicidal now. Am I completely cool with going to heaven? 100%. But that is what stopped at that.
But I, dude, I honestly believe I know what you're saying. You're saying I'm good. I wasn't suicidal. But I think you're not seeing that there's some deep pressure. I think it just exploded in the subconscious, right? Is I am done. Like,
done. Yeah. Like, well, but that's my point. Like,
been through everything that this child, this man, this boy, teenager, like I am exhausted and I don't to keep going.
Sure.
Right? Like,
it's just different than your typical story.
State, you are just fucking done.
But I laugh at it because
I'm not saying depressed. I'm not saying that you were there, but like there's only a certain amount of limit a human can take. And I think you've surpassed that. And you're like, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, yes. And again, I laugh at it. And the reason why I laugh at it is because other people are truly, there's like, I guess there's levels of suicidal, right? And the reason why I say it and I laugh at it and I want people to hear it is because, for one, I didn't, right? Yeah. Whether you believe in God or a higher power, there is. But more so, like, I don't want, and truly, by the grace of God, man, I didn't, right? And like, if I did, the fallout of what would have become for my family would truly be like, you know, I would have deserved to go to hell for what would have happened to everybody else, right? Because I was the building blocks that kept people afloat, right? And so, but again, what I want people to hear from that and what I truly hope people take away from it is like, you don't have to get to that point. And I can say about it and laugh about it. And even at the time, I wasn't scared. And so, which is probably the scarier part because I was so good with it where other people are on their knees desperate. I wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. But I hope what others could take away is like, you don't have to get to that point.
Well, I mean, then what do you suggest people do then?
As much as I'm not the share your feelings emotional guy, I'm not. And this is why this is so uncomfortable, and hence why it took 3
I know.
months
I've been hounding this guy
saying
for weeks, months.
months. It's been months, actually. So we live in a world where like it's okay to talk about your feelings and be soft. I do play on both sides of that. I think for one, right, and it doesn't make it any less horrible for a woman than it does a man. I think there's much more social acceptance, meaning like, of course it happened to a woman. Of course a man raped a woman, abused a woman, trafficked a woman. The stigma to a man. Now you're looking at a tattooed guy and I've got motorcycles and a gun belt behind me, and I was a dude who was trafficked and raped by dudes. The fear of that, and even now saying that out loud and other people hearing that, like, it does, regardless. It doesn't make it worse. It doesn't make it less. It doesn't make it anything. But I'm a dude. I'm a dude that, people look at as a leader, an alpha. But then that happened, right? And so there's a lot of fear that comes with that. And because of those feelings, it's probably why I never voiced it. You think I'm going to voice it to the guys that I'm riding 100 plus miles per hour with on a motorcycle cross country? No. The guys were getting, like, you just don't. And so I think if I was able to come to terms with it sooner and voice it, maybe I would be able to be, at hot yoga.
Hey, don't be dissing hot yoga.
No, I think it's great. It's funny. It's funny. So the 2 yoga classes that I went to, my wife, obviously my girlfriend at the time, but she was a big yoga person. And she would bring me, and that's how we actually like hung out. But I'm in a yoga class, and what's it when you're supposed to sit in silence? No, but you're sitting in silence, like the end when you're yeah, that's that stupid word. I'm sitting there and I'm talking to every chick in the class, and my girlfriend's right there, but I'm talking to everybody in the class because the thought, and I said it out loud. I'm like, you guys want me to be quiet with my thoughts? And the woman walked over. She did something. She's like, yeah, let's just sit in silence. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? I'm like, there's no way I'm sitting in silence. And now I'm trying to make light of it. She goes, you have to leave the class. I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
there's no way I'm sitting in silence. Peace. Anyway,
Shanti. No, man, I mean, but the cool thing is to get to know you and to know your heart and to know that you take off the shirt off your back for anybody that deserves it and that has earned it, right? In a sense where, and the drive that you have to help your family, to see it succeed and to see these kind of things. And this story, man, it could have broke you. And it almost did. Look, 6 years ago, it almost did. Let's call a spade a spade. You almost broke. And you didn't, though, because you are special and God has a plan for you to be able to tell your story in such a way because he made him known to yourself, to you, that he is there. And your story, man, if anybody listening could have an understanding where there is light at the end of the tunnel, if you need to reach out to Tommy will reach out to you and answer you back if you have any questions. It's the type of people that share their story and their healing process that is just going to be a lighthouse for others around. And I think that's the true meaning of life is human connection and how we can help each other, lift each other up and put each other in a better situation or help someone along the way. And I think that's the biggest thing in life. And I think, man, what you've gone through has shaped and weighed, like it actually, instead of hardening your heart, I think it opened your heart in a way for you to be who you are today. And I'm grateful for you to share your story. I know there's so much, but I feel like this episode went so much better that the last one we did. I feel like it was just a lot more precise and a lot more things that, hey, this is what happened, but this isn't what is who you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think so. Yeah, this was definitely a better shot. I mean, and you and I talked about this. I like the idea of going into the story, right? For one, there's a story, right? Absolutely. There's the actual story part that is, interesting, scary, whatever you want to call it. And then there's the impact on others. And again, I'll say this, and I hope we do more of these. And I'll say that, again, the takeaway that I want, what I genuinely, so there's these, and I'll just say this too, right? There's a fear for me now, even as we're talking about it, in my head, I'm like, man, I'm going to lay down. He's going to send me the clip and he's like, can I post this? And I'm going to be like, fuck. Right? But so there's the reality. I'll say this for anybody that hears this, right? So again, man, we're in a world professionally and life, right? There's going to be people that are going to watch this and be like, first of all, you can't be saying this because you represent us, right? There's that fear. There's that real shit. And then there's going to be people that hear it and they're like, and hopefully they hear it and they're like, oh man, like there's a pathway out of it, right? They're just so extremely different and they're scary.
It is, dude.
They are, you know, and I know.
Anytime you put yourself out there, you're opening yourself up to any kind of critique, criticism, comment. But I would rather bet on the people that knowing that there's a pathway out than saying you can't do that, because all I ever do is think about when I post on LinkedIn or post on social media, I say, if I can just help one person today, then I'm doing my job.
No doubt.
If I get scrutiny over helping somebody, then shame on situations or people that want to control what I have to say for a narrative, because I want to help people just as much as you do.
Yeah, I get it. It's just real. I mean, you put yourself out there far more. I do try, right?
Yeah, no, you do a great job.
You're by far more real than I've been willing to put myself out there. This is massive. You know, this is fucking massive.
we barely scratched the surface.
I know.
But that's the beauty of it. That's why I want to do more of these. But I feel like this was a great opening of what Tommy Wood and the hope for you are that you want for people. And it's okay to not be okay, but it's also you will be okay. You can be not okay at some point of your life, but just know that there's going to be some light.
If you keep moving, there's going to be light.
Right.
You got to keep moving.
Keep moving forward. If you fail or if you fall forward, because if you can look up, you can get up.
I'm like, man, I've fallen on my face a lot. Yeah. Yeah, right. I'm like, I need to use my hands, my knees, my toes, my fingertips to get off the ground. Anyway.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks to everybody listening. This is awesome. I just love connecting, especially with a dear friend and somebody that's gone through it. And just, I look up to you, man. I appreciate the way you come across and the way you lead and the way you have overcome your stuff. And I love our banter. I love how we come from different cuts of cloth, but we come together as one. And I think that's the best thing. So thank you. I appreciate your time, bro.
Thank you, dude. I appreciate you being my step into this world. So. I mean, I don't even say that lightly. So whether this ever makes a podcast or not, man, when I tell you, I'm going to say this to you too. And again, I doubt this will make it. But so I met a guy. I'll say this to you because it's cool. But the most random happenstance, dude. But I met this dude. So he's a Christian, but he's like, man, I'm not a Christian in four walls. I will not go to a church. Yeah. I won't go to whatever. He's like, I don't believe in it. He's like, but this guy, and I met him truly, man, driving by a beach. He thought he recognized me to be someone else. I stopped because he was saying something. I said hello. We connected. This dude travels the world. No bullshit. He travels the world, and he is the guy that takes the fucking children out of the traffic situations. So they work with fucking right. So he connects with these groups throughout the world. And I mean, he goes, and if you met him, the guy's got a lisp. He's skinny. He's kind of nerdy, but he's like, man, I'm the guy that walks in and they think I want the kids. He's like, we stake these places out, find out who they are. We send people in, we get them out, we find their homes. And like when I tell you, like I saw him at a beach one day and the next day we're having coffee. And this is what the guy does. And so I brought you up and I'm like, man, my buddy Johnny's been trying to get me to do this. It's like, yeah, man, it's a big step. Do it. I'm like, right. I'll be sure to do it. We'll get there. Yeah. So anyway, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, dude. This is going to be the first of many, so I appreciate it, dude.
Fuck yeah, buddy. All right, let me know how it goes.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon, bro. Thanks, man.
All right, buddy. Catch you.
Bye. All right, bye.